Today, we're doing something a little different. We're going to be a fly on the wall for some of the most private conversations you can possibly imagine. We are diving deep into the raw, secret therapy tapes of the Pulitzer Prize-winning poet Anne Sexton to really understand how she forged her pain into breathtaking art. I mean, really think about that. What if you could actually listen in during the most intimate, vulnerable moments of a brilliant but deeply troubled mind? For 9 whole years, that is exactly what Anne Sexton did. She recorded her therapy sessions with her psychiatrist, Dr. Orne. And let me tell you, these tapes, they weren't just therapy. No, this was the forge where her pain was hammered into poetry. So let's start by listening in. Okay, so before we get into the details, you've got to understand the world these tapes came from. We're not talking about some clean, sterile, modern recording. This is a real-deal time capsule straight out of the early 1960s. To really get what you're hearing on these tapes, you have to transport yourself back in time. One researcher, Dawn Skorchevsky, put it perfectly. She said that listening to Sexton's sessions felt like she'd joined the cast of the TV series Mad Men. And that's exactly right. Picture it. The suburban cocktail parties, these incredibly rigid expectations for women, and this deep, unspoken anxiety just bubbling right beneath the surface of everything. And you can literally hear that world on these recordings. They are just saturated with the sounds of the time. You hear Sexton's long drags as she smokes, the scrape of a lighter. You hear kids playing outside the window, Walter Cronkite's voice on the TV in the background. She even taped classical music over sessions that were just too painful to revisit. And get this, sometimes you can actually hear the clatter of her pearl necklaces breaking as she twists them in her hands. This isn't a transcript you read. It is a whole scene that you are stepping right into. So this whole thing started back in 1955. Sexton was just 28, totally overwhelmed by being a mother and battling suicidal thoughts. She was admitted to a psychiatric hospital, and that's where she met Dr. Orne. For the next 8 years, therapy wasn't just about getting well, it became the place where she became a poet. And these final tapes, they capture her right at the height of her success. But she's also facing a brand new crisis. The man who helped create her was about to leave. And this brings us right to the central conflict of Sexton's life. It's a theme that just echoes through the tapes and all her poetry. This huge, intense pressure of the 1960s domestic ideal crashing head-on with her own violent internal reality. On one side, you have the ideal, right? The Christmas card from what Sexton called a quintessential happy family. That picture-perfect image her husband, Kaio, wanted so badly. But on the other side, you have the reality, her own words from the tapes describing a horrific fight where she screamed, "Come on, kill me," while hitting herself. The distance between those two worlds wasn't just a gap. It was a violent, unbridgeable chasm. And this is exactly how she saw herself inside that perfect picture. Not as a real person, but as a synthetic object. I am a plaster doll, living in a doll's house. She felt hollow, fake, like a mannequin transplanted from a fancy store, completely cut off from her own real feelings. She even said she couldn't cry because she literally couldn't remember how. But here's the thing, she wasn't just a passive victim of all these expectations. Oh no, she actively fought against them. In one session, she gets so frustrated with the idea that doing housework is the main way to be a good wife that she just declares, a woman's place is not in the home. A servant's place is in the home. I mean, for that era, this was a direct assault on what everyone was supposed to believe. So that's the big question, isn't it? How did all of this rage and this deep pain become world-class poetry? Well, the answer really lies in the unique dynamic between Sexton and Dr. Orne, and the special process that he helped create with her. At the heart of it all was a concept called generative empathy. Now, this isn't just sympathy. It's not just feeling sorry for someone. It's way deeper. It's the profound inner experience of sharing in and truly comprehending another person's state of mind, right in that moment. It's a creative connection that can actually transform your whole sense of self. And Sexton herself described this process perfectly. She told Dr. Orne, "You taught me to believe in dreams. Thus, I was the dredger." You see what she's saying? He didn't give her the answers. He gave her the belief, the tools, to dredge them up from her own subconscious, to pull out what she called her sweet, dark playthings and turn them into art. And this was a true collaboration, not some top-down relationship. Dr. Orne even admitted his own mistakes on the tapes. He reflected on a time he tried to force an issue, and he realized, if I did this, then we were no longer on the same team. That idea that they were a team on a shared journey, that was absolutely essential to her creative transformation. And all of this, it all leads to Sexton's most profound artistic argument. This incredible idea that our deepest wounds, our most private pain, can actually be a source of unexpected connection and hope. This line, it's from her poem, The Operation, and it is so powerful it became the title of the book this whole analysis is based on. It's the core of her entire philosophy. Sexton argued that if she only gave her readers something pretty, something outside of her own brokenness, they would miss the most valuable lesson, that confronting the absolute worst parts of ourselves can lead to an accident of hope. Her poetry basically provides a roadmap for this transformation. It starts with private rage, inside what she calls the inverted bowl of the mind. But, and this is the key, you don't stay there. That personal pain expands until it becomes more than myself. It becomes universal. It's your house or your kitchen. And in that shared space, an incredible empathy emerges, where, as she writes, my face is your face. Private suffering becomes a mirror reflecting our shared humanity. Ultimately, what Sexton's work teaches us is that the most important lessons in life, they aren't found in perfect, lovely places. They are found in the commonplaces of the asylum, in the cracked mirror of the self. By staring straight into her own fragmentation, she didn't just find art, she found a profound and generous hope that she could offer to the world. Which leaves us with a final, really fascinating question. The author of our source material concludes that therapy itself is a kind of fiction, a story we construct to make sense of our lives. So if that's true, where does the real truth of Anne Sexton's life, or any of our lives, actually live? Is it in the objective facts of what happened, or is it in the powerful, lasting art that was created from them?